We're going to talk about the GOAT debate. The GOAT debate we're going to talk about today is about what the context is around it. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm watching social media, or I'm on social media the other day, and I see a tennis pundit say that Carlos Alcaraz was Roger Federer, but better. And when I first heard it, I couldn't believe what this man said. Then I went in the comments and realized that everybody was being incredibly complimentary, and everybody was in some way celebrating it and acknowledging how incredible Alcaraz was. And it wasn't about knocking Federer, and it wasn't about how incredibly crazy it was that he could say something like that. When I was a kid, I remember the first tennis players that I was aware of were players like McEnroe and Connors and Lendl. I'm old. But quickly after that, Sampras and Agassi came into the world. And right away, I could tell as soon as I laid my eyes on them, these guys were better. And to be honest, I think the generation before them quickly acknowledged they were better. Then what happened after Agassi and Sampras? Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. 2 decades, we've all acknowledged that those are the best tennis players ever. There was no problems from the generation before. There was no questioning how great they were. Everyone just acknowledged that the new guys were the best ever. And now, at just 23 years old with 5 Grand Slams, of course, he's got to go on and accomplish what Federer and these guys have accomplished. But somebody can say that he's Roger Federer, but better. And it's celebrated. I'm going to give you another example. Hip hop, right? I grew up in the 90s in New York. So if you ask me my top 5 in hip hop, I'm going to tell you the same all the time. Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Jadakiss. And you might ask a young kid today, and he'll probably say Kendrick Lamar, Drake, J. Cole, and maybe they'll throw Biggie or Jay-Z in. Music's a little different. I'll tell you why music's different, because you can still play the music right now and make it current. It sustains. It's everlasting. So if you hear a song and it connects with you that way, you're going to put them in your top 5. But really, generationally, these kids are now saying NBA Youngboy, Drake, Kendrick. They're not saying Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, except the 1 or 2 people that are still listening to music from then. But nobody is saying that their top 5 is Run DMC, Eric B. and Rakim. Maybe the old heads are, but if they are, they don't even believe it. If someone says Rakim, Cool G Rap, they know if they listen to Rakim and Jay-Z back to back, they know Jay-Z's better. But no one's going to say it. Why? Because they just acknowledge that the evolution of the sport of hip hop, people have gotten better. That's at least how I see it. Then you think about football. Football could be an exception. I always figured that Lawrence Taylor, arguably the greatest defensive player of all time, could have played in any era. I've always just said that. He would be incredible. He would dominate today. But the more I start thinking about this example, the more I'm wondering if Lawrence Taylor really wouldn't. Like, would Lawrence Taylor just be one of these guys on the field, like an incredible player, but are there a ton of Lawrence Taylors on the field? Does the evolution of the athleticism, the strength training, the technology, the knowledge from previous generations, does it ultimately just make everyone better? Would Joe Montana really be one of the best quarterbacks ever if he played now? Maybe football doesn't subscribe to the same thing. Maybe football is one of those things where you can truly look at a player from 20 years ago and go, nah, he could be incredible right now. But you'll never know, so you can't really say if you put Joe Montana into today's game that he would dominate. I don't know if he would. I don't know if there's 15 other quarterbacks. It's just over time with the coaching and the training and the skill set that they're all just better, that people just get better. In basketball, though, that's sacrilegious. If I ever said, all bias aside, that Kevin Durant was better than Larry Bird, people would flip out. But if I put on any YouTube clip ever, are you telling me that Larry Bird is better than Kevin Durant? Or honestly, this is crazy too, but are you telling me Shaq would really dominate in any era? When people say Shaq will dominate in any era, I don't know if he would. Jokic dominates. Can Shaq do what Jokic did? Shaq couldn't shoot free throws. Shaq couldn't shoot threes. So people will say he would have learned how to shoot threes. But would he have? I don't know. So how could we say that he would dominate in any era? I just know that it's absolutely sacrilegious to say something as obvious as Kevin Durant's probably better than Larry Bird. He might not have had a better career, He might not have the same accolades. But then if we're talking about accolades, then how is LeBron not obviously the best ever? And I grew up in Michael Jordan's era, so I'm always going to say Michael Jordan was the best. That's the way he made me feel, the way it impacted me. Young people, they're impacted by LeBron in that way. But I know if you took somebody from another planet and put them on in front of a TV and let them watch LeBron and Michael Jordan, there's no way that everybody would say that Michael Jordan was better. And LeBron has the body of work. So I'm not even debating it. I'm just saying, have we looked at it all wrong? Could we really be looking at it the way tennis looks at it? Should we not just celebrate the evolution of all these athletes and all these eras? It's not as fun for sure, but if you really think about it, if in tennis, McEnroe could acknowledge that Sampras was better, Sampras could acknowledge that Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic were better, and now somebody respected within tennis can say that maybe Carlos Alcaraz is Roger Federer, but better, and all they do is celebrate it in the sport, it's just something to think about. That's just my thought.